In this video, we'll show you how to make a box joint using the jig. This joint has 90-degree square pins that look like a castle tower edge, and it's often confused for a finger joint, as shown below. However, I'll be using the names for box and finger joint interchangeably here. For this joint, you'll need two pieces of wood that are the same height and thickness, and the box joint jig. You can find the jig to the far right of the wall below the lathes. Remember to wear a safety shield and follow all the rules of the LWHS wood shop. There are three main requirements for the box joint. The first is that you cut along the grain of the wood. If you cut against the grain, the pins of the piece are very likely to break off when you put the pieces together. The second is that you have a solid backer board. The backer board is a scrap piece of wood placed behind the main piece of wood, and it prevents tear out and splinters on your main piece of wood. However, if you have a backer board with slots already cut out of it, the backer board doesn't help and your main piece of wood will get a ton of splinters. So adjust the backer board along its track so that the area directly behind the cut is solid. The final requirement is that you adjust the blade height to the thickness of the wood. This will create the square pins that are the basis of the box joint. To do this, lay the wood down against the jig horizontally and slide the jig to see where the wood will be compared to the height of the blade. When you lower or raise the blade, make sure to have it ever so slightly above the thickness of the wood, like 1 or 2 hairs above the wood, so there's a slight overhang on the pins. You can sand these off, and that will create a more full and complete joint. To make the cut, make sure that you've adjusted the blade height, your backer board is solid, and you're cutting along the grain of the wood. To start, place the edge of the wood against the pin on the jig. Turn the machine on, hold the edges of your wood against the fence on both sides, and slide the jig forward along its track until the dado blade cuts through the wood. Bring the jig back towards you. Then move your wood along the jig so that the next edge of the wood is against the pin, as shown here. Slide the jig forward again to make your second cut. Repeat this until you get to the end of your wood, and don't forget to cut the very edge of the wood piece, even if it doesn't make a perfect square pin. Now you'll make the second piece to fit in with your first. To make sure the pins line up, flip your original piece of wood around so that the first solid square is to the right of the jig's pin. Place your second piece of wood against the first so that the edge lines up exactly. Slide it along the track to make the first cut, and then bring it back towards you. Remove the original piece of wood, and repeat the cuts for the second piece of wood like you did for the first. Once you finish, you can slot together your two pieces. These you can then glue together, and then use the belt sander to sand the slight overhang of the pins. I hope this tutorial helped, and good luck with your projects.